Well, here we are, folks, at the end, close to very in the wee hours of evening, in the moonlight, some would say. And we're gonna watch some Moonlight Pulse with 8-Bit Monster. You are good to take it away.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. I am 8-Bit0nster. I'm going to be running Moonlight Pulse, 80% for you all. This is a very cool Metroidvania style game. So we're going to go ahead and get started here in a second. One thing I will explain real fast before we start, because this game moves very quickly. So we play as a group of 4 characters called Curatives that will control and swap throughout the game. On the fly, in the middle of movement, in the middle of jumping, attacking, all sorts of stuff, and it lends itself to a lot of really, really cool movement and tech throughout the game. So, now with that being said, I am ready to go. So in 3, 2, 1. All right. So first off here, we start out playing the game as this guy. His name is Silex. He is a mole. He's okay. He's not my favorite, but he's a pretty good character. So we're gonna do some quick little jumping around here to move our way towards the first boss and our first unlockable character. So here we get our first little dash ability with this character. So as you see, we're gonna go super fast and keep on running here. So we're gonna pick up our first upgrade here. So that is an attack power for Laguna specifically. So we are collecting about 3 of those throughout the run. One thing too about this game, what's a little fascinating about it is we are inside of a giant turtle floating through space. The turtle's name is Arrowask, and so we are trying to prevent the turtle from being harmed and keep it healed because we live here. So that's kind of the premise of the game. And so as we go through this game, this is what our goal is. Oh, took a little bit of damage there. Got to be a little careful here. Okay, hold on. All right. Oh, I had a strong feeling that was happening. Okay, pretend you didn't see that. And the last 20 seconds, we're gonna try that again.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, me neither. No clue. Oh. Yeah, unfortunately, the early game can be a little bit of an issue. Because, as I'll explain here, is all the health for these characters is at the bottom left of the screen. And if it gets to 0, they will get knocked out. Now, until you get other teammates, you have no lives. So if you get knocked out with just the one of them, it's a game over. So that's the only unfortunate part here. So we're going to try this again and not die. Unfortunately, the enemies do not behave in a consistent way, as you can see. So we're going to be a little safe here. We're going to take a safety checkpoint. Okay. Okay. I will explain more as soon as we get past this. Yeah, so a little bit more, I guess, about the turtle. So he floats through space. We're protecting it. As we go throughout this game as well, the bosses that we defeat, and there will be these little germ things that you can see on some of the fast travel areas. We also, whenever we break those, we are healing the turtle. So the turtle does not have that much health. So we have to do these things to keep it alive, and that'll come into play the picture later. Alright, so this is our first boss. This is Sylphlaren. So we're going to do our best to get it to 400 HP, just under, and wait for him to start to transition here in a second, and then we're going to start wailing. Yeah, because we want to get as much damage as we can to try to one phase, and it's not going to work because I didn't get up top. That's okay. Not behaving. Alright, come down. Thank you. Okay. So now we're gonna meet Laguna here. So Laguna's gonna help us dispel all the fire around our friend here. This is the best boy right here. That's Laguna. Okay, so now we have our second character. So now you're gonna see a little bit of that swapping. So the first thing that we're gonna do right here, we're gonna do a little trick to skip some of the platforming in this game. So here I'm gonna switch to Laguna, break this thing. Now we're gonna do our best. Oh, got on the first try, and then we have to quickly swap. We're gonna do a roll with Silex, and swap at the same time, and then swap back again to Silex. We'll try to get up here if it wants to work. Please. There we go. All right, because we're trying to break this so we can use that fast travel thing, which I'll show you in just a moment. Okay. All right. And we jump over that gap. Otherwise, we'd have to go all the way around. Okay. Come on. Move. Okay, all right. So here real quick. This is the fast travel system. So these little bubble areas, these are the arteries of our turtle friend. So those are how we get around the game very quickly. And so that's why we break those things. This is our first item. This is the Purity Stone. What this does is it protects your character that is active from the acid that we're running through right now. So we equip that so we do not die. Okay. All right, we're gonna go through here. One thing you'll notice too here coming up is, in just here shortly, is we're gonna get another ability for Laguna. And the way that works is usually through cutscenes. It's not like a typical thing where like you fight a boss and gain an ability. So when you see like the screen kind of go out and then all of a sudden come back and things look a little different, it's because usually there's a cutscene that gets automatically skipped. Okay, we're gonna come up and take intentional damage so we can get over. Skip all these bugs. All right, and if so, there's not much else to talk about for 30 seconds or so. So Sapphire, if you got any updates, feel free.
Yeah, I would love to remind folks watching that this is the final run before that Final Fantasy VII Remake run coming up, and we do need to meet the $125 for that target to upgrade it to a hard difficulty before the start of the run. We're just under $50 away right now. I know we can do it. With the 4 characters of this run, maybe we see a $4 donation train with your favorite character of Moonlight Pulse. Personally, I'm big on Laguna right now. I'd love to see her shoot into the lead for that boss fight character choice.
All right, thank you. All right, so we just got the first really big ability. So we also got the dash in that cutscene I was telling you about early, and then right there, we just got the ability to charge our Laguna's attack, and this allows you to bubble enemies, which is very useful because then you don't have to fight them and you can run right through them. So this is a very useful ability. It's used throughout the entire run. This is why Laguna is the best and my absolute favorite character. And Laguna also goes really fast. Okay. So we're gonna do a little bit more platforming here. So a lot of times what you'll see now that I have this bubble ability is we're going to use this a lot here. So, oop, I missed. There we go. Just so that we don't have to fight these things and move on. So now we're going to grab the second attack power upgrade for Laguna. Coming up right here. Okay. So this is, like I said, those little things are what I was telling you about that boost the HP of the turtle. So at the end of the game, the more of these things that you've destroyed and the more bosses you've defeated, the more health the turtle has, because at the end of the game, I won't spoil it, but it matters a lot, and it's kind of a race against fighting the boss and not letting the turtle pass away. So very important that we do just enough to keep it alive. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of trick there to destroy a couple more of these little blockages. All right. So if you are donating for this bid war, the bid war for the characters. So my personal preference, if we're picking one here, is Laguna. Laguna is my favorite and arguably the easiest one, besides having everybody available. Oh, missed that skip. If you want to make my life more difficult, you'll pick Charlotte, but no one would ever do that, right? All right, hold on. There we go. So you have to do a quick swap right there. The reason that works is because the swapping in this game, when you're swapping characters like that, just like on that trick at the beginning of the game, what happens is when you roll with Silex like that, typically you get a little bit of height on the actual model of that character. And once you gain that height and swap to Laguna, his hitbox is also a little different. And so you're able to get just barely over the lip of a lot of things and gain that extra little bit of height to go over places you're not typically supposed to get to. Yeah, oh, and there's the second boss. Little mosquito. Okay, so we gain Silex's next ability here, which allows him to wall climb. It's a really great ability, used quite a few times in the run, but we're not going to see it for a while. So what happens in the cutscene we miss is Silex gets taken over by a parasite, controlled by the final boss of the game, whose name is FB, which is a big old praying mantis. So unfortunately, Silex is now evil, and Laguna is very sad and very alone. And so we're gonna go recruit some friends to help us. This is another pretty quiet section, not a lot going on, pretty auto-scrolly, so if you have any more things that you would like to update us with, go for it.
Yeah, I have a $25 donation here from Asia that says, "So proud of you, love you, homie."
Oh,
And that's... Oh, God, just...
No, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Asia. I might die here. Keep going.
Well, I was just gonna say that brings us to $328.60 raised over the course of our first day here at Multithon. And when you're sending in those donations, make sure you're adding in that target and a poll of your character choice for the boss fight coming up. You heard 8-Bit say that Laguna is the best girl, and we would love to see her for that boss fight character choice. She's just about $21 behind Clyde right now. And we're still just under $50 away from that Final Fantasy VII Remake upgrade.
Awesome, thank you so much. So I didn't die. It got a little sketchy there for a second. I made it with 2 health, which is very terrifying. So anyway, here's the first and only puzzle that we do in the game. We skip the rest of them because that's too slow. So we're gonna move this little block around. Not when I do that. All right, we gotta reset it. Reset the block. Okay. This is what happens when you hit the bubble too many times, because we need to get it right through so that we can get up top. Yeah, this is another pretty dangerous section of the game, only because we don't have any other characters to back us up. So if I do take a death here, this is a heavier reset point than it is when you're just playing with Silex at the beginning. So we gotta be pretty careful here. Now, right here, we're going to introduce something that happens a lot within this run. So this is our first arena fight. So the arena fights, you can tell that you're in an arena fight because the background changes. What's happening is, like, space is being distorted a bit here. So the screen actually wraps around, which is really cool, but that's not something we're going to be really utilizing on this fight particularly. But this is how you know you're in one of these arena fights. So these happen throughout the run quite a few times, and we do our best to get through that combat as quick as possible. Just like that. Okay, so coming up here, we're going back through some of the same areas again. Gonna break through here. All right. So the movement in this game is probably one of my favorite things and why I love playing this game so much. It's very, very satisfying once you get it down, being able to really quickly swap between the characters. And coming up here, once we get Charlotte in the next couple seconds, Charlotte adds a lot to the movement kit once you get the next item that we're going to go towards now. So Charlotte, what's cool about her? Charlotte, I keep saying it's a lamb. I apologize. It's actually a sheep. It is. She is not a young sheep, indeed. And funny enough, what's cool about Charlotte, the big ability that she brings right away is opposable thumbs. Yep, sheep have opposable thumbs. If you didn't know that, congratulations. There's your biology lesson for the day. And so Charlotte is able to grab onto ledges that Laguna can't. So we're going to be doing a lot of character swapping here to grab onto ledges. So again, like I said, a lot of the run kind of starts to open up here with the other characters that join in. Okay, and there's not, again, another quiet time. If you got anything else you want to update on, feel free. You have a little bit. Oh.
Yeah, I have a $47 donation here from Anonymous that says, let's see hard mode, which let us meet that target of $125 to upgrade Final Fantasy VII Remake to a hard mode difficulty. So we are going to be seeing that for the next run. Thank you all so much. And then I also have $10 here from Sandman XGB that says, tuned it with my doggo. Let's go, bro. Hashtag Laguna is the best. And that went towards putting Laguna ever closer to Clyde in that boss fight character choice poll we have going right now. She is just about $11 behind.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone that's donating towards that. A lot of these people I recognize names, a lot of friends, and I really appreciate everyone tuning in and supporting that. So thank you all. Really awesome. All right, so we're gonna do a trick here. Okay, I'm gonna explain after I do it. No, I'm not, because we didn't get to do it. I messed up. So typically what we're trying to do is bubble all these enemies so we don't have to fight them, because as you can see, they do a lot of damage. And I have to wait for Charlotte to be able to come back so I can get back up here. So I kind of messed that up, but it's okay. So we got Charlotte's grapple. So as you can see, we are now able to grapple up onto all these little ledges, and it's going to be very important here in the next section. I also picked up another item here that I equipped on Laguna that causes this thing to charge a lot faster if you haven't noticed. I can use this a lot quicker now, so that Storm Orb is probably one of the best items in the game, in my opinion, and very useful for the speedrun. So, two really, really good things here. Hold on.
I'm held.
Okay. Whew. I know. I was more worried because I'm like, I'm making a few little movement mistakes here, and I'm like, oh no, this never happens. Okay. All right. Out of that hard area. So now what we're doing, on top of collecting all of our companions, we also have to hit a few triggers in this game in order to be able to do the final fight and get through all that. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna help out. We need to get the final ability for Charlotte, and to do that we have to go all the way to Charlotte's town. That's up on the top of the turtle's back. So that's where we're headed right now. We're gonna go fight that boss, and it's a pretty unique boss, and you'll know what I mean when you see it. It's a little different. Quite a cool fight, and there's some cool stuff we're gonna do to get that. So here's a little bit of what I was talking about with a lot of the swapping and all the grappling. So we're gonna do another arena fight here. This is part of what we need for the boss fight. So what we're gonna do here is, after this arena fight, that little mouse that we saw is gonna give us an item, and it's cookies. That cute little mouse makes cookies, and most of them are really delicious, except for one of them. It's actually a spoiled cookie. And so what we are going to do is we're gonna buy that spoiled cookie, and we are going to equip that item onto Charlotte. Bought the wrong cookie, clicking too fast. What that's gonna do is allows you, once it's equipped, you're gonna be able to feed it to the boss. And you'll see how that happens as soon as we get there. All right, and now we just got another ability for Laguna. So Laguna can now actually use this bubble ability and bounce off of things. So this is a pretty useful ability. We use this quite a bit to bounce off of things and get up to higher places as well. Okay, we're gonna do one quick thing here. Let's see if I can get this cycle. No, I think I'm going too slow. Yep. Okay. Another quiet time. A little bit, not much going on. So if you got any more stuff you'd like to update with?
Yeah. Us here at Multithon. Multithon is a speedrunning event raising money for Blue Path Service Dogs, a charity that provides service animals to autistic individuals. Multithon focuses on co-op runs, races, and games with multiple protagonists or helper characters, like this one. Led by the belief that we are better and faster together, and right now we are sitting at just under $400. We're sitting at $395.60. thanks to a $10 donation here from Adeline that says, go 8BitMonster and go Clyde. And that put Clyde even farther in the lead for that boss fight character choice.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was my child. Thank you, Adeline, for that donation. Or Clyde. I appreciate that. So that was the fastest I've ever done that. I didn't even have a chance to explain. So one of the unique mechanics, actually, I'll explain that mechanic in a second. So this is the weird thing I was telling you all about. So we fed that we are gonna feed the cookie here. So we have to first get into the boss by. Okay, we're gonna get into the boss by breaking into her hand. And no one would have guessed it, but now we're in her eye. And we're gonna beat her up. So yeah. One thing with the whip that's really important with Charlotte is that if you hit an enemy with the very tip of the whip, what's gonna happen is you're gonna do critical damage basically, or extra damage. So the goal with her character and attacking with that whip is making sure that you're always hitting with the end of that whip. Which is why that's the hardest character to do the final boss on, because it's very precise, and you gotta make sure that you're getting that extra damage. Oop. Oh, you're kidding me. Hold on. Okay, boss is dead. Ooh. So, I am... You know what, I'm just making things exciting. We're going with that. Okay, so our final is, I think this is our last one for Charlotte. So Charlotte can fly now, or I guess hover, and glide around. So Charlotte's very useful. One thing I didn't explain earlier as well, at the moment. So the really cool thing is if we ever have to fall like a really long distance, it turns out that if you spam attacks with Charlotte in the air, you fall really fast. So we're going to utilize that anytime that we can when we have to fall far distances. Okay. So now we are moving towards our next character of Clyde. There we go. So we're gonna go all the way back down to the bottom where we were early on with Silex and Laguna. So we're gonna go get Clyde. He's currently chilling his workshop, being a grumpy dog, and we're gonna go make him help us. And he's gonna show us how cool his mech is. Okay. So we're gonna run through this area once more. This is where our little bubble comes in handy again. Sometimes enemies don't cooperate. Cool. Okay. One other thing is when you're floating through these arteries as well, you can hit a button and actually speed it up, which is really nice. So that's pretty handy dandy. All right. Oop. All right, you're supposed to grab that. Thank you. All right, so now these enemies that we're about to find here, we only see them a few times. I hate these enemies. I think these things are called. I forget what they're called. It's there's an alchemy thing for it. Like it's a special piece of glass, doesn't break if you hit it. It's really strong, unless you hit like the little tail of it. That's what those things are.
Prince Rupert drop?
Yes, a Prince Rupert drop. Thank you. That's exactly what it is. I always forget the name of that. I don't know why. But yes, they hurt really bad. Okay. Just gonna... I don't have much going on right here either, so if you have anything you would like to talk about, you can take over again.
Yeah, I gotcha. So we are just $4.40 away from $400 right now. So many fours. What a lovely time to purchase your ticket for the $4 donation train for the 4 characters in this run, and make sure when you send in your donations to put it towards our open pool of picking that boss fight character that we are going to be playing as. That is going to be closing on the final checkpoint before the boss fight, which is right at the end of the run.
It's okay. All good. Nope. Hold on. No one.
You're just giving the folks at home more time.
Yeah, more time for donations, right? Alright, we're good. There's a checkpoint there, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, sometimes, unfortunately, enemies don't like to be. They don't cooperate. They'll be faster in some days, and sometimes they won't. And like that guy will just jump right on you. So it's all right. It happens. Okay, so we're gonna do our next arena fight. This one's a little bit more. We utilize the wraparound on the screen a lot more, and you're gonna see just why. So you can shoot these orbs everywhere and constantly get rid of them. So pretty easy. Oop, that's why you don't want to get hit by that. All right. Okay. Oh. There we go. All right, perfect. So now that we're done with this, we're gonna do some more fun platforming. Ooh. A lot of character swaps here. There we go. Okay. So we're gonna do a little trick here. Saves a little bit of time. We're gonna jump out and got that. Okay, because otherwise we have to kind of jump up and down and up to those platforms, and that takes too much time. All right, here's Clyde. Here's our boy in the mech with the flamethrower. So that's one of the other characters in that bid war. So if you want to see me use a flamethrower for the whole fight, that's a really good choice too. So you get water, the whip, or you can have the flamethrower. So those are your three choices. We don't use Silex for that, unfortunately. With this run, I could not figure out how to do enough damage with Silex to be able to include that. So we just get objectively the three best characters. So. Okay, as I mentioned before as well, there are a lot of upgrades in this game. This is one that we just kind of get on the way. That is a health upgrade specifically for Charlotte, but we don't really need it. So it's not necessary, but we run into it. So we're gonna get our final attack upgrade for Laguna. This really helps us do a lot of damage on that last boss. It's part of the route, but with the idea of not swapping at the end, it might not be necessary to be grabbing all these, but if I do get to play Laguna, it will be useful. Okay. Yeah, so as you can see, a lot of the platform is going to get a little bit more challenging with the constant swapping here. So this, Clyde can also do this through these little tethers. All right. Okay, we have to defeat these because we're going to pick up this little piece of bone here. So now Clyde is able to hover and shoot fire out of the bottom of his mech, and also he gets his dash ability here too. Oop. All right. So coming up after a little bit more of this platforming, I hope you all remembered Silex because he's coming back. We're going to rescue him. So that's the next thing on the agenda. So we're gonna do a big ol' arena fight, and then we're also gonna have to fight him. So we're gonna come up here. All right, perfect. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna try to get, this is that tip I mentioned earlier about using the tip of the whip to do a lot of damage. This is gonna come into play here. With the fight, the boss fight itself. So that's going to be the fastest way to fight the boss. Okay. Hold on. Alright. So here comes Silex. So we're going to bubble him first and try to get this damage in. Just gonna focus a little bit, do this fight.
Great word.
Ooh. Okay, so that's the parasite that we didn't see take him over. Oh, okay. So now we're on to probably the most difficult section of the game. We have all of our friends, and now we have to go through this gauntlet of platforming and enemies to collect 15 of these like little slime things, or like little orbs, I don't know, goo balls, whatever you want to call them. So I will do my best to explain everything that's happening, but it goes really fast and requires a little bit of concentration because there's a lot happening. So we're going to collect all these things. We're going to utilize the movement abilities of every character in the game while we collect these. So I also just picked up an ability there for Laguna that we will utilize for the boss that is coming up. And typically use the last boss, but in this case we might not use it tonight, so we'll see. But it's really good. Actually, let me go ahead and equip it before I forget. It's Oily Ink. What this does is when you hit enemies with Laguna's attacks now, they actually take on like an oily look, and it makes them vulnerable to flames. So you utilize that with Clyde, and you can do a lot of damage that way. It's very, very fun. And here we're going to take a really quick swap and glide. Ooh, that's really tight timing there. Ooh, try not to get hit by the spikes. Okay. All right. Okay. Use our tether. All right, this is going well. Here we're gonna do a quick grapple. Oh, you tried. All right. No, that guy, I don't hate that enemy. Okay, so now we get the last ability in the game. This is for Silex, and it's the most broken thing in the game. You can now teleport through walls, which is very fun. Definitely the most fun ability in the game. However, there's a reason you get it at the end, because it's kind of broken. So now we start really zooming and just breaking through everything. Oh. So this helps us finish up the last of this level. It's going to help us also get back once we go. One thing I will explain too before we get to this boss, besides utilizing the oil to do everything, this area that we're in is actually a mantis, like a mantis ray, a stingray, some ocean critter that also floats through space. And unfortunately, this is what will happen to our turtle if we can't protect it. This is what the bad guy does. So this is what we're trying to stop happening. You know, we're trying to still live here, so we want to make sure that we can protect that. So we're trying to escape from this place. And so we're going to fight this boss first. And there we go.
Great work.
Thank you. Okay. So we're coming up here pretty shortly to the final level of the game. So we're going to go all the way back to some familiar areas. But we're going to get there really fast now because we don't have to run through all these arteries. We can just teleport right through them.
Would you mind if I popped in real quick with a
yes,
donation?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I have $25 here from Thunderfoot that says, you know what? You know you want to prove Charlotte can save the turtle. Proud of you and all your hard work. And that went to our picking Charlotte for our boss fight character, and it also put us over $400 raised on day one for Blue Path. And I also have $100 here from Mirnon that says, how can you not do everybody for Multithon? Love from the Pixel Guy. And that skyrockets everybody into the lead with $138.
Oh my goodness.
You're at $520 raised and 60 cents for Blue Path. Thank you all so much for your generosity.
That is absolutely incredible. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad we'll potentially get to use everybody. Thank you all. Again, so many generous donations. All right, so this is our final platform combat section before the boss. So there's gonna be a lot of wraparound stuff. So we're optimizing a lot of the combat here as much as possible. Come on. So this is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna constantly swap characters and utilize all of our good, you know, our space bending abilities that we are being granted here. character. Yeah, the end of that bid war is coming up pretty soon. So if there's any last minute ones you want to get in, now would be a really good time for that. If you want to see it, yeah, exactly. Yeah, do we have any more?
I don't have any more right now, but
Perfect.
now, like 8-bit said, this is your last chance to get a donation in. Clyde is $27 away. Laguna is $48 away. If anyone wants to snipe this poll and make it a little bit harder for 8-bit, or see Laguna the best girl, now's your chance.
Okay. All right. Here's our last arena fight. After this, forever hold your peace. Okay. All right. I call foul on that. Thank you. All right. Here we go. All right, and we're gonna do a little trick here at the end too. So normally we just, go from this position and run all the way across the thing. Oop. But I don't want to do that. So we're just gonna come over here, wait for the screen to go back. All right, that's the final checkpoint. So as soon as I get down here, you'll have to let me know what we're doing.
I gotcha. All right. It looks like everybody has won the poll with $138. Thank you all so much for your generosity.
All right, perfect. So we'll do this fight with everybody, and just as a normal thing, normally I just use 2 of the characters, but you know what? Just for this, I'll make sure each character does at least one hit to the boss. All right, here we go. So this is the FB. This is the final boss. So this is where we're going to utilize. So here we're actually fighting on top of the heart of the turtle. This is why the HP in the fight matters so much, because now it's not just a race against time. It's a race against time to defeat the boss, but also to do that before it actually, unfortunately, kills the turtle. So we have to be very fast with our damage here. All right. Okay. Now, I'll do the extra damage with these other characters here on this phase. I'll be very careful. We're going to start with Silas, so let him do a little bit. And Charlotte. There you go. Everybody has now contributed to the fight. And we will do our best. Okay. And as soon as the boss dies, that will be time in the game as well. It's coming up pretty quick. Oop. And time. Awesome.
GG's.
All right, awesome. That was great. So real quick, before I do really quickly the last of my quick little shoutouts and where people can find me and all that fun stuff. So here at the end, I'll show you off. This is the turtle. This is why we were doing everything that we did. Arrow-ask has been saved. We can now live in harmony. And so you can see this is the health thing at the bottom right that I was telling you all about. So yeah, it's very important. So that's why it's very detrimental that you kill the boss very quickly. So yeah, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having me and letting me play this game and show it off. I really, really love this game. And hopefully more people that watch this, if you're interested in playing this game, I highly encourage you to, if you want to learn how to speedrun this game. Also, you can reach out to me on Discord. You can join the Discord for Sea Florida Games, who made this wonderful game. Very friendly place. The developers in there hanging out. Everybody's chatting all the time. So please come see us. And thank you to all the runners before me who have discovered all the routes and everything for this game. It couldn't be done without you. I just am standing on your shoulders there for that, so I appreciate it. Yeah, and again, you can also find me on twitch.tv/8bitmonster, just as it shows on the screen as well. That's where I hang out sometimes, and I play a bunch of other speed games. So, yeah, and thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that run, 8-bit. That was absolutely amazing and a treasure to watch. We will be right back with some more Multithon coming up soon. Coming up next, we have our Final Fantasy VII Remake with, through your generous donations, we have upgraded to a hard mode. And we will be right back with more Multithon. Thank you.